Hello. I am Robocock.
Wait, wasn't that the actual name of the porn parody?
Probably. I have not had the honor thus far of seeing a Robocop porn parody. I know my life is so diminished by this. Motherfucking representing with the fucking red scarf.
Yeah, you're too low down. Yes.
This isn't the usual car.
The usual cars and the car doctors.
Yeah.
Squat.
Hello.
Hello.
This won't work.
This isn't getting any better.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Okay. Drama over. I swear I actually have a top of the head.
She does, I've seen it.
Yeah. And you do not want to know how many heads I have seen of theirs.
We saw Robocock.
He did have his brain did look a bit like a, mushroom head, warhead, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
see where you're going with this.
Brain glands comparison.
Ah.
It's a tall robotic dick with parts of it. But only when the helmet was off. When the helmet was on, he just looked like a robo-condom. Anyway, this is like an Old Boy remake type thing because better than the trailers would suggest.
Better than a recent spate of shitty remakes.
Except for the Old Boy one, which again was fine.
Yeah, it was alright.
This one, I know the guy who made this made some really critically acclaimed movies. I think he's Brazilian, but he made them in South America, and it's like, okay, this critically acclaimed guy is making a Robocop remake, that's fine. But, that didn't make me feel any better about this film going into it, because the guy who made X-Men Origins Wolverine, his last film before that was, I believe, Totsi, which was like an Oscar-nominated drama from South Africa. So it's like people who make good films in non-English language stuff and then go to America have been known to make shit. So I was semi-expecting that, but glad to say that it's better than I expected, although it's like you're watching RoboCop, but it's off. But it's not bad, it's just
Not Robocop.
not quite.
It's like Judge Dredd meets Bicentennial Man. Sorry, Dredd, not Judge Dredd. Fuck that film.
That's an interesting comparison.
Hey, I like Bicentennial Man. Nobody else does.
It's... We don't need to play in spoilers because you know what RoboCop is.
So there's this guy named Alex Murphy, and he didn't transfer him from a different police department. He's apparently well established in the Detroit Police Department, who has I want to say transgender, because he seems to have stopped being a short white lady and become a large black man partner.
Oh, Lewis.
That's more than... That's a lot of surgery to become a large black man from a short white lady.
Yeah, apparently, the making you taller operation takes a lot of time to recover because they have to, sever your legs and stuff and then sort of re-stitch them together.
Yeah, they had titanium rods into your shins.
Yeah, so... Shit, they should have made the movie about that one.
Yeah.
That would have been much more sort of surgical, body horror going on there.
Ooh, I don't like bones. But...
You got, oh no, I've got reverse vitiligo that gives me a penis. Arrgh! Lewis, no!
But Murphy and his partner Lewis are off the track investigating gun trafficking this time instead of drug trafficking.
And I gotta say, it took me ages to work out who the gun trafficker was, because he doesn't look like himself, but I finally worked it out. And I want to know, has anyone noticed this? When did Eric Stoltz start slowly turning into Bruce Davison? Because it was like, who is that fat, slightly younger Bruce Davison? And then about 3/4 of the way through, just before he died, it's like, holy shit, that Eric Stoltz! What happened? Dude, you were Marty McFly! He was. They filmed half of Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz, and then they replaced him and got Michael J. Fox, and you can see little clips of it online or on DVDs and stuff.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, they figured his performance was too subdued and wasn't quite right, they thought. I thought that the clips look fine, as far as I can tell. There's actually, I think, a couple of shots where you can see Eric Stoltz in the film, whenever he's wearing like the big nuclear suit and stuff, but generally they replaced everything. It's a very unusual backstory that film has.
Interesting. Anyway, Murphy gets blown up by the weirdest car bomb I've ever seen. It's not wired up to the engine, as, you know, a normal car bomb. I know a bit about car bombs, I do apologise. But a car bomb's normally placed under the vehicle and wired that whenever you turn the ignition, it goes off. That is proximity. But he manages to drive the car home with this bomb planted in the wheel arch, and it later goes off by him touching the door.
Maybe they put it on the passenger side.
No, it was on the driver's side.
Or maybe he got in the passenger side last time and it's just doing the door. Either way, you're right, it is incredibly bizarre. I remember I saw a documentary where a mobster was killed by a car bomb. Now, this guy was a bomber. The mobster, he was an expert in it, so he would look under his car every single time he went, in case there was a car bomb. He would check his car. Of course, they got him with a car bomb by exploding the car beside his. You know, by a remote.
I've seen that done as well.
Well, it's quite clever, I thought.
Yeah, it's
They could have put that into the film.
They used to do that for police cars coming out of government buildings. They would drive a car up beside them with a bomb on the door.
Interesting. And on the subject of car bombs, today I received a copy of Saints Row 1 because I played the other ones, and very early in the game I just involved in a mission where Aisha blew up looked like an entire skyscraper with a car bomb, so that was a powerful car bomb.
It's not how car bombs work.
Yeah, I know, but they did it in the game.
Does this count as my crime of the week?
Yes.
Excellent.
It's not
my crime of the week is terrorism. Don't do it at home, kids.
Well, that's less of a crime in Northern Ireland, more of a national pastime.
True.
Okay, and this you've got... This is a bizarrely interesting and good cast. For instance, okay, the guy who plays Robocop, don't give a shit. The guy who plays his wife, don't give a shit. And yes, I did call her a guy, I don't care. You know, Lewis, don't give a shit. It's like, the more important the characters, the less I give a shit. But you've got Haley, what do you call him? The guy, Jackie Earl Haley. You've got Gary Oldman. You've got Samuel L. Jackson. You've got Michael fucking Keaton. So we have Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah. And, you know,
Nick Fury.
Yeah, we got Michael Keaton, I'm pretty sure, told Robocop that your black suit is not as good as mine. And who else? You got Eric Stoltz. It's just like, a lot of these guys are, you know, hey, I used to be famous. Or, you know, hey, I turn up in a lot of places and here I am. It's like, yay.
And Samuel L. Jackson is playing Fox News taken to the nth degree.
He's playing Glenn Beck, and in fact, I really wish he was wearing whiteface for it and wearing wearing a bow tie or something. You do go the full Glenn Beck and start crying. That would have been fucking hilarious.
Is the U.S. government pro-crime? And he exploded after doing 2 Avengers movies without one motherfucker. He just exploded at the end of Robocop. You can't do it. He
got a motherfucker and a shit.
He has a quota for motherfuckers.
Yes, it would cause them physical pain if they don't do it.
That's why he doesn't like being in the Avengers very much. He didn't get one motherfucker in there.
He didn't get any motherfuckers in any of the Star Wars films. Although I'm pretty sure he was on Valium when he did them.
No, he did. It was just during the green screen scenes he was going, motherfucking agent, motherfucking get me this motherfucking job.
Now we're not going to get a really deep, amazing commentary on the film because, you know, you if you watch our videos, you know that we're really good at bitching.
Yes, really good at bitching.
And honestly, there's less to bitch about this one, although I'm not entirely sure which attempted murder on Alex Murphy was Michael Keaton guilty of. Was it the first or the second? Because he was a little jumbled. I know he was getting them to pull the plug on Murphy for some reason, which I'm not entirely sure about. So that was the second one, but were they also saying he was involved in the first one? Because I didn't see any evidence of that. I was confused.
No, I do believe it was the second one. He was behind the planning of the first one, if we follow the plots.
How
Because
did they work that out? And why? What was his point of doing that?
Because he was looking for healthy police officers to kill. It was slightly implied somewhere, but Omnicorp is... It's by and large, it's just shite. I preferred it in the first one. There was no... The dystopia in this one didn't exist. I liked the original Robocop dystopia of the police have been privatized and all this other shit. It was brilliant.
Yeah, this one, it didn't think it through quite as well. Although it was nice to see, and it's nice to see that this one, like the other one, was really, critical in some level, on some way, look at America from an outsider. Which the first one was. It was a big fuck you to American consumerism and a couple of other things. And, you know, Robocop was the American consumerist Jesus. But this one was like, the guy's South American, so and, you know, South America got shit on quite a lot by America, so he seems to be, this one's going for a more anti-American pseudo-colonialism,
Yeah.
which America does quite a lot.
To be quite frank, Samuel L. Jackson's line were, America! 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 America!
Yeah.
America is the best nation in the world. Flag appears behind him and everything.
Well, it was really good to see Michael Keaton in a big role again like this, and I really, really am still wanting to fucking kick someone that he's not going to be in playing Batman in the next film, because they want an older, grizzled, retired Batman, Michael fucking Keaton. Well, okay, hold on to him if you must for Batman Beyond, but the guy must return. He was the best Batman.
I really want live-action Batman Beyond, not done by Nolan.
Yes. But the,
Give Joel Schumacher the job.
Not entirely sure who I want, but I would like Keaton to return. But if they couldn't get Michael Keaton, it would have been nice to have Peter Weller in this one. Although Peter Weller is amazing because the guy, he was perfectly cast as, but it was a bit like Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator because he has no emotion. Having a thought about that, do you know who'd make a really, really good Robocop in a really weird way?
Who?
Quentin Tarantino. Because watch him from Dusk Till Dawn and all, the guy cannot express human emotion. There's something weird going on, but it's not quite human emotion. Imagine him as Robocop, like constrained, unable to talk about pop culture. He could fucking do it.
I can see that.
There would be a really, really weird and fucked up Robocop, but he could do it. He would probably be a better choice than this guy.
Joe, who would be a good choice for Robocop? Christopher Lambert.
No, it'd be the French Robocop, and you'd have like a baguette and a string of onions and a sweater with, you know.
No, Christopher Lambert doing a really good American accent until he's turned into Robocop. It was like, we fucked up the voice modulator.
No, you need to dub him.
Oh, brilliant.
But you heard it here first. Okay, next time you remake Robocop, Quentin Tarantino or Christopher Lambert if you're feeling silly.
Well, I want every movie with Christopher Lambert. My ideal movie would just be a remake of The Raid, but every character played by Christopher Lambert and done with body doubles and shit.
You know The Raid 2 is coming out in like a couple of months?
Yeah, but it's not starring Christopher Lambert.
This is true. Though The Raid 2, it's the original script that they tried to make, but they couldn't get funding for.
So they stole Dredd.
Yeah, Dredd was in post-production at the time, so they're like, okay, this is a good concept, and then they made it like within about 4 months.
But speaking of Dredd, I got a lot of Dredd vibes in this film. Whenever the classic Robocop armor makes an appearance, and then it's like, no, make him black, and they do, and then they give him this really cool motorbike, and it just, when he's driving around on it, it's just, he looks like Dredd.
I kept wondering, because of the weird shape of the bike, and they have like this bit sticking out the back, and I kept wondering, did he stick his legs out there, or is his ass really pointy?
No, he had like a socket on his ass, and that was how his neural interface with the motorbike. Come on, people, you're building robots. You can have more interfaces than having the robot just drive a normal bike.
And
Plug a USB port in.
The Robocop, the original armor, yeah, it did make an appearance, and it was nice to see it, but it's a little bit like the Clash of the Titans remake where you saw Bubo the Owl, because it's like, here's the original! Oh, let's dismiss it immediately. That's like a joke for the original people, and let's be insulting at the same time. It's like, no.
Also, Robocop now fires taser bullets.
Yeah, it's not so good. No, and he did kill a bunch of people as well. So
yeah, but
it's like his gun fires tasers sometimes, and
it's plot device.
Yeah,
He's a plot device gun that sometimes fires tasers.
Nowhere near enough gore. Like,
No.
you have bits of gore, and you do have the body horror of what happens to Robocop. You know, it's the guy, which was fine, although I want to know how his hand was being held together when he was disconnected.
Yeah, his hand was disconnected,
It's
but
like floating there by itself.
that was just another fuck you to the original, where it's like, his arm survived, no, cut it off. Or in this one, it's like, we managed to save his hand and graft it onto the robot.
And then later on, when he's disassembled into pieces, we've got the pieces all separate, including the hand, which has some reason is still connected. And
It's
not
on
sure
a
how.
stick going to his spine. But, yeah, he's also got this sort of Iron Man assembly, disassembly rig. Because, you know, all he is a head, he's a brain and some lungs. Maybe a heart. In one scene he has a heart, in another scene he doesn't. But, you know, at least he can still enjoy a joint.
You can enjoy a hand job, but not the actual receiving of it.
That is the good question. They were sending him back to his wife. Did she at any point make the request, please, for the love of God, give him a robocock?
The groinal attachment.
Groinal attachment number P32I. Let's try this one today, darling.
What I liked with the first one was that Robocop, it was a robot that basically had a dead guy's, some parts of brain, but mostly like his skin stretched across his skull. And that was really fucked up. And this one is just like, oh, it's just a cyborg that's got no, the computer bits are there, but it's like ignoring, and then suddenly we're doing computer stuff, and then he's like, oh, it breaks free, and it's just...
And that was a big plot point that I think it could have been done well in the original. It wasn't really necessary in this one, was the whole programming versus brain thing. I mean, Gary Oldman pretty much murders him in the middle by completely removing his ability to access his own emotions or feelings. That in my definition, is death. It's like a severe suprafrontal lobotomy whenever he reduces dopamine levels and removes his emotions interface chip. That's sort of the film make a big point of saying, oh, we kept your emotions and your intuition and all of your human side, that's there, you're still you in this suit. And then it's like, get it fixed or, you know, you'll lose funding. Shit, better kill him.
By the end of the film, they have he became super with the gun and everything. He was still super with the gun at the end of the film. So Gary Oldman's original sort of alteration to make sure that he wasn't in control whenever the mask was down, that stayed.
Yeah. Gary
Oldman became the goodie or a goodie, and he's still being. He's not in control.
The only real thing of significance he did was save a guy's life, then end it. Essentially. But, yeah, there's a lot of politics in this one. Instead of just boardroom meetings and shit, it's all about the Senate deciding on a law whether or not robot drones are going to be allowed to act in the law enforcement in America. And I really hate to tell you guys this. I really do. But the US military and several US police forces already have drones involved in their law enforcement. Also, your fucking newspapers and journalists and paparazzis have them involved in taking pictures of you. This law is maybe... What year did they say this was? 30 years too late?
Well, the violent guy's wife left him in 2019, so I don't know.
It's at least 10 years in the future.
Yeah, it's at least.
But that's another thing. There's some really weird design decisions in this. Like all of the phones. Like apparently in the next 10 years or so, we're going to start putting screens on the backs of phones when we hold them up to our ears instead. I don't know why. That really bugged me. I know a bit about design for mobile phones. It's
maybe they'll have it on both sides, so you don't actually need to waste your valuable time turning a phone over. Who's got time to turn a fucking phone over? What the fuck do you know about being important in Michael Keaton?
And of course all of the usual sci-fi shit. The kid has a tablet that's a thing you hold here that has a screen that can be seen right through because sci-fi.
Sci-fi equals holograms.
Sci-fi equals holograms and shitty resolution screens that have too much background light. I'm sorry. I like to enjoy my shit on something with black behind it, not that I can see my ma through. Hello, mother. Just watching some porn here.
Well, I'm pretty sure that small boy has not yet had that problem, but he will.
He will.
He's going to end up with a robo-fetish.
He's going to end up with severe mental scarring. My daddy died in a bomb that I watched, then he came back, then he left us again, then he died again, then he came back.
And I didn't even get to impart in the way that my favorite television character spins his gun.
Yeah. The family plays a massively larger role in this compared to the original.
Which you shouldn't, because... And the one thing the first one got right was if you're going to turn a guy into a robot and, you know, put him on the streets and everything, then the guys who are doing this are not going to want his name out there because there's going to be some kind of legal ramifications. Like in the first one, he was just referred to as Robocop, and then later on the wife worked it was Alex Murphy, blah, 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 and then they revealed
No, the partner worked it out.
Yeah, everyone, other people worked it out as well.
Yeah.
But, like, at the start, he was just announced as Robocop.
This is Robocop.
So, the company could have been all like, well, yes, Robocop's definitely not an American. He's just this guy who we found in Wales, and so therefore there's no legal issues or anything like that, or some bullshit like that. And this one is just like, oh, it's Alex, it's an American. Now, legally, they can turn Americans into like, you know,
I think the point
robots.
is, because he was a cyborg, he wasn't legally classed as a robot. That was all the legal.
Oh, I know, but, you know, they'll be all like... What this would actually cause is a minor panic in that the crazy people in America would immediately start assuming that people are going to be grabbed and turned into the Borg by the government.
Oh, yeah.
Because American people are not all, obviously. A massive amount of them are not. But there are some people in the American public, and every country, but America seems to have more of them than average, are fucking nuts. And the sort of people who would watch Samuel L. Jackson's show in this universe
are fucking nuts.
Will most likely be fucking nuts and probably be the first ones to assume that the government, being evil, is going to grab them and turn them into a Borg.
I'm sorry, Americans...
So that's one of the logical problems with this version of the story.
For some context, we're British. We do have our tabloid news sources, but by fuck are they less biased than what I see in the US.
Well, our ones are newspaper-based. We have... Our television news is incredibly regulated, while America's newspapers are way regulated. It's like, you know, we're like opposites.
Okay, well, just swap your newspaper's attitude with your television's attitude. That's what we're used to. That most of our news goes through the BBC, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and they have it written into their charter that they've got to be even-handed. It's like law. I think the Americans had something like that until like the 80s, and it was called the Fairness Doctrine or something. But yeah, well, our newspapers can be partisan as fuck, and they can be crazy, and they can drive people to suicide and not even get a slap on the wrist.
And they can publish completely.
They have done that.
Another thing, the Sun newspaper, this isn't libel, this was taken to court, did was they ran an almost false story for the first couple of pages. Then were proved false in court and ran I believe it was page 17, I may be inaccurate with that. They ran a 3-line apology on page 17.
Yeah, our newspapers are a massive pile of shit.
Yeah.
And,
entertaining as fuck, though.
So watching the crazy television news for us is always really entertaining.
Oh, I want to just sum up one of our newspapers.
Okay.
Are you a paedophile? She's a paedophile. Are you a paedophile? Oh, look at her tits. She just turned 18 today. Look at them. Look at that naked girl. She just turned 18. Oh, I've got to count down time until she turns 18. Are you a paedophile, though?
Yeah, the Daily Mail, it spent a lot of its time bitching about a television thing called Brass Eye, which was parodying the media's hyperactive, insane fear of pedophiles. And they spent pages bitching about this, and this is terrible, this is horrible, this is terrible. I think it was the Daily Mail. And then, like, on the next page, they had a countdown until Charlotte Church, who was then a teenage sort of sensation pop singer, would turn 16, or was it 17, whenever she would be legal.
Whenever she would be legal to fuck.
Yeah, it was either the Daily Mail, the Star, or the Sun, or the News of the World.
The Daily Mail is ringing in me there.
So it could be any of them, but
News
one of them
doesn't
did it.
exist anymore.
One of them did it.
But anyway, enough about news shit.
It's a bit like how Fox News spends their entire time fucking moralizing about shit, and the news is presented by like 40% hot blonde Anglo-Saxon woman in miniskirts.
It reminds
Mixed signals.
Oh, Fox News is terrible. There's a reason most people I talk to spell it F-A-U-X.
Ah.
But anyway, if you want to make this film, what you should do, you should get your DVD copy of Robocop, cut it in half, get a straw and suck out all the gore, then get your DVD copy of Dredd, cut it into quarters, put 1 quarter on the disc, and then get some random clips of lawyer drama.
As long as it's not violence from Dredd.
Yes,
because Dredd was pretty gory too.
It was, and it was brilliant. Then just get some random clips of shows of lawyers, shows about doctors, shows about family drama in Australia. Just hit it with a hammer, and then give it a polish, and you'll end up with something a bit like this. My mind works different.
Robin?
Yes?
You're fired!
No!
I have to say, Robocop was a lot less hardy in this one than the previous one. I mean, like, either, cause, you know, they were getting rifle guns were like, you know, causing severe damage, while the Peter Weller one had big fucking guns to hurt him.
Anti-tank rifles.
So the Ed 209 from the original must be much more powerful than the Ed 209 in this one. So it's like, this is like Predators, you know, the third Predator movie, where it was like, oh man, these are the black super Predators, these are amazing Predators, these are upgrades from the previous Predators, and they're much smaller and they're much less competent.
It's called Nerfing.
Yeah, it's just like, we're just telling you this one's much more impressive than the original, even though it's kind of not. And in the Predators example, it's because, well, the original Predator went to Earth, foreign soil, to take down a team of mercenaries who were a team. Predators, they grab a bunch of random humans, who some of whom don't even speak English, stuck them on an alien planet and forced them to work together. These guys who were not a team on foreign soil, and then they, as a group, took them down with dogs. Which of these guys, the black super predators, who have to hunt with their friends against a group of people who have no idea what the fuck's going on a foreign area, or the other guy who goes into the enemy territory? This is the equivalent of going grouse hunting versus taking out a lion with a bow and arrow. That's one thing that really bothers me about Predators.
Yeah, it did feel the same in this, you know. The Robocop just felt a lot of nerf. It was just, I am suddenly a lot more vulnerable. I'm not doing why I'm talking with this accent. I can't do robot voices without sounding like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But he's suddenly a lot more vulnerable. He's a bit shit, and I like the original gun, the 3-shot pistol. That was amazing. This new one's just boom, 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 and he dual wields. That's just stupid. But here's another thing.
He's much too quick and he looks plastic.
Yeah, but that's the thing I find in a lot of new movies.
Although it's probably a bit more realistic, because the robotics that we're working towards now, they are going towards lighter materials rather than sort of what could do. But and they have new materials which are coming out which are much harder than steel, but they're lighter. They're really expensive though.
Yeah, it's kind of polymer people tend to use.
Yeah, and stuff like carbon nanotubes or whatever. But they're it's probably more realistic to have them lighter and stuff.
Mm.
It just looks less real.
Yeah.
Reality is unrealistic.
They should have looked at Asimo before they tried to do his leg animation.
He looked really goofy when he was running.
Yes, it was like the start of the $6 Million Man.
Yeah. Yeah, the Robocop should never run and should never leap.
Yeah.
Just looks silly.
He's a tank. He's not a fucking
gymnast.
Rogue. But that's one last wee nitpick I have with the plot, anyway, is the quality control. Gary Oldman was given the job of, look, we can't have robots in the police, but if we set up a cyborg who's almost as effective and harder to kill, we might get a shoe-in. Gary Oldman goes, makes this really good cyborg that performs better than any human could in these simulations they do. But because he's 2 seconds behind the robot equivalent...
It was actually about 30 seconds. The robot did it in 15 and he did it in like 55.
Yeah, because he's... Well, they said 2 seconds and 5.9 and whatever.
Yeah, they were adding up. You know, see, he did that 2 seconds slower than that one. He did an extra 5 seconds. It was building up.
Yeah, but still, it's faster than any human could have done it. Why is that a fail in quality control? Hey, this product that you're making to not rival my product doesn't rival my product.
No, it was like, this product is banned. We want to get a shoe in, so we can have this product in here, so we're going to put this product in first. However, we expect this product to outdo this product. So before this product can be sold. So therefore, we want this product, which is already better than that one, to do it, so we can get this one in.
Yeah. That just doesn't make any damn sense.
Why is this necessary to be better than this one? Otherwise it makes this whole product pointless.
Then they have a live fire exercise.
inside like a
In
computer
an
game.
abandoned warehouse. No, it's a live fire.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking about the.
Yeah. His final test is a live fire exercise against the guy Maddox, who's in charge of quality control. Maddox just straight up says, "I'm going to be shooting to kill you. My entire job here is I have an actual live 50 caliber machine gun, and I'm going to be attempting to end you."
Well, he is Rorschach.
Yes, but why was this allowed by the execs?
Did you notice there were 2 ginger guys in this film, and both of them had big guns and tried to kill RoboCop and failed? There's a message here.
I didn't notice that.
Eric Stoltz and Maddox.
Huh.
So you got Rorschach, and you got the guy from Pulp Fiction, otherwise known as Samuel from The Prophecy.
I mean, I just tend to not notice when people are ginger.
Have you ever seen The Prophecy?
Yes.
Yeah, he was the good angel who died partway through.
Yes.
That was Eric Stoltz.
But it's like, hey, you guys who are the head of this company, the guy who's in charge of this entire initiative, some other executive people who are able to just whip off that we spent 2.6 billion on this thing for, without even batting an eyelid. You guys okay if I try to kill him? You guys okay if I try to destroy this project and everything just to test if it works?
Well, Michael Keaton would be perfectly fine with that. He doesn't give a shit about anything.
It's like, hey, I got this one-of-a-kind prototype car. It's cost 2.6 billion to develop this one prototype. Do you guys mind if I drive it headfirst into a wall at 300 miles an hour?
I said a random thought. What if someone come up with a fan theory to have this RoboCop be the direct sequel to Tim Burton's Batman? And have Michael Keaton character be Bruce Wayne? He's just changed his name because he's eccentric. And that's why he stopped being Batman because he's too old or something. So therefore that's why he's still so obsessed with order, and he'll do anything necessary. And that's also why he decides to put him in black. He is trying to live vicariously through RoboCop.
I'm just going to do an impersonation of Michael Keaton in this movie. Hey, did I tell you I'm evil? Did I tell you I'm evil? I'm evil.
Batman's in RoboCop. You heard it here first.
Also, Commissioner Gordon just, couldn't stick the pressure to the police force anymore, so he... Actually, the job that he was doing at the start of the film with it's cybernetically enhanced, what are they called? Prosthetic limbs. He's trying to teach a guy how to play guitar with his robot hand. That's pretty much exactly the area that I wanted to work in a couple of years ago.
You wanted to play with Michael Keaton? Gary Oldman?
No, I always wanted...
Please, Gary, please do your Dracula voice.
No. Gary Oldman is now too old for me. But, no, it was the area of study I really wanted to do with the focus of my degree was to get some sort of neural interface that we could control prosthetic limbs with. I think that's something very worthwhile. Why you would leave that to build a robot, I don't know.
Well, they promised him proper funding.
Yeah, and then they promised him...
Obviously he has proper funding already, because he's already working for these guys, plus he's got, cyborg legs and stuff. So he's got some sort of funding, but he's like, I'm going to give you more funding so you can build, giant set of prosthetic legs to take you bestride continents.
Yes. Your legs will be 7 leagues high.
This is very impressive, Mr. Oldman, but it's very impractical. I'm just trying to walk down the street. I keep stepping on my house.
New idea. Make them telescopic. Shit, I got balance!
RoboCop is also Inspector Gadget.
Yes.
That's after he gets lobotomy.
There were chips... There were 6-pin chips implanted directly into his brain. I'm sorry, but at what point are you turning a brain into your Arduino? Seriously, folks, have a bit of sophistication. At least use a processor, not a motor controller chip for your props. Stupid prop department.
Because they point out that the main reason why you'd get Gary Oldman, and then Gary Oldman, they'd replace RoboCop with the robots eventually. Even if he is so damn good that he's better than the robots, is probably because...
There'd be no loss of life.
Well, he's going to be outdated. His technology is going to be outdated within a couple of years.
This technology can be taken off at the flick of a switch.
Oh, I know, but they'll be all like, it's like, you have a PC with a couple of years, it's like it's out of date and everything falling apart. It's going to happen with him, and he's eventually just be like, nah, we'll just throw him in the cupboard and use him as a paperweight.
No, he just takes his arm off and hangs it in the wall and gets an upgrade.
Yeah, but you've got the connector parts that are directly attached to the body. Eventually they'll just be all like, Murphy, we like you. You're really good at, impersonating a set of lungs hanging there on the wall, but I just can't be fucking bothered to upgrade you anymore.
You know, Murphy, I think you'd be better in a desk job. Here's a USB connection to your computer. Just
no, but desk job, and then they stick, like, make him a desk. He is a desk.
That's ridiculous.
I know, but, like, they stick... I don't know, you stick the top part on one leg, he's, like, acting as one of the legs for a desk.
And then they could just hang his head and lungs behind him.
Yeah.
And have him sit at the desk.
This is not got much human dignity. Yeah, but you don't have much human left.
Yeah, well, Murphy, your apparatus has left you alive for 50 years after your accident. Just shut up, nobody cares anymore.
I remember back when Samuel L. Jackson was Glenn Beck for some reason. Ah, shut up, old man.
No! Old man's the guy who made me!
Based on the explosion, his face was really fucked up and his eyes were, yet his eyes seemed fine. I wonder why they didn't, like, give him, like, CGI eyes or...
Bionics.
Yeah, something unhuman. Or when he was in battle, why didn't they have bits of his skin ripped off, showing that it was fake skin, because it has to have been.
No, it was his ass.
Yeah, well...
That's why he lost his ass.
If you have it shredded and then you can see, like, the metal skull underneath, that would have been really cool, but instead we're supposed to believe that although his visor got half blown off, his face is perfectly fine underneath it.
Completely devoid of any marks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they have this wonderful idea bit where they have like this gunfight in total darkness, so these guys have like night vision goggles. Ironically, these night vision goggles make human beings' skin turn bright white, but metal turn black. So, RoboCop is like red, white, everything else is black. So it's like, if you just wore fucking normal night vision goggles, you would have been fine. You would have seen better.
No, they would have been blind with that amount of gunfire that they're looking at.
Okay, well, fine, but he's still... I think they possibly could have seen him better if they didn't have the night vision goggles on.
What, you mean because he has a giant light on his face?
Yeah. So, in their night vision goggles, he was mostly invisible. There's a reason they lost. Weren't they setting up explosives?
They had tripwires.
Yeah, didn't they blow him up?
Some guy tried to throw a grenade at him at one point.
And that didn't end well for the grenade.
It's like, I've got a grenade, and Robocop's just like, I don't need to look at you to shoot you exactly in the head.
You could have had like a really funky part where he was shooting someone, because there was a bit where the robot was much better than Robocop, because there was like multiple targets and stuff. You could have had a bit where the robot was like that, had two guns, and had guns like that, and then so somehow like the torso, part of the torso sort of disconnected and spun around to shoot someone over there who physically they couldn't reach.
You mean like the Iron Man stuff that happened in the Avengers with all of the wrist-mounted cannons and shit appearing everywhere?
No, not so much that as the entire torso sort of disconnecting from itself. It's like, you know how you sometimes got robot characters who are like doing that and then like they get hit in the back and then they sort of, the entire midsection spins around.
Yeah.
It's like that, but you disconnect there. So you have that part doing one thing and that part doing another thing just to deal with multiple people.
That would be quite cool.
Surprised no one did that. Or they could use that sort of thing with RoboCop because only his hand and his lungs and all are real, so surely there was something they could have done to really accentuate the fact that, you know, it's not a man in a suit.
They could have made his leg a Gatling cannon.
Yeah, or they could have even done the classic robot, the midsection spins around.
They could have even done the Rory Pond.
Yeah, or they you know, there's lots of things they could have done, just little subtle things to show that he's, you know, those, but they didn't.
He because they didn't do anything like that apart from take the armor off and put it back on all the damn time. Whenever he was walking around, he looked like a bad cosplayer.
Well, not a terrible cosplayer.
Okay, not a terrible cosplayer. He looked like a cosplayer who had spent a very long time in a costume, but not a long time learning the motions and how to walk in it.
It was like, you know, he looked more like a guy who did a very good Iron Man cosplay, but for some reason thought the costume was black and forgot that he had a front page point.
Or who did a very, very good Dredd cosplay and then, instead of marching, skipped.
Yeah, or, you know, Dredd as a Cylon or something, you know. But anyway, 40 minutes is your limit.
Yeah, in conclusion, it's a good enough movie, it's enjoyable, it's just not RoboCop.
It's better than I expected.
Go watch it if you're interested.
And do you have any comments?
It was good.
Okay.